Hello everyone. Today I'm going to give you some basic ideas about music and musical instrument. So, the content of today are number 1 music, number 2 different types of music, and number 3 musical instrument and its classification. The first topic is music. What is actually music mean? Music is the melodic or harmonic combination of the sound or notes, whether produced by voice or instrument. In other words, music is the art of combination of the sounds so as to please the ear. Music is one of the fine arts which are concerned with the combination of these sounds with a view to beauty of form and expression of emotion. As we hear different types of the sound all around, there are varied types of the sound like loud, soft, harsh, melodious, romantic, pathetic, joyful, and so on. But the type of the sound which is pleasing to the ear which has melody and the rhythm or the sur and the tal, which has a systematic frame of ascending and a descending order, giving a variety of patterns and conveys the emotion, is called the music. As usual, I am giving two definitions of music given by New National Dictionary and Great Encyclopedic Dictionary. So, according to New National Dictionary, arts of combining sounds or sequences of notes into harmonious pattern pleasing to the ear and satisfying to the emotions, melody, is called music. And according to the Great Encyclopedic Dictionary, this combining of sounds is for reproduction by the voice or various kinds of musical instruments in rhythmic, melodious, and harmonious form to express thought or a feeling and affect the emotion is called the music. And there are some basic elements of music like melody, harmony, shruti, swar, pitch, beat, rhythm, timbre. These are the basic elements of music. So, the music is the fineness of all fine arts. It is the universal appeal. It influences the old and the young, the rich and the poor, all alike. Love of music is innate in man and pervades the animal kingdom as well. It is indeed a bliss to enjoy and cultivate and harmless among of all the pleasure of life. In short, music refreshes the mind and elevates the soul. It gives perfect mental peace and is a panacea for many ills. So, as we have some basic idea about the music, then let's go to the next topic. That is different types of music in India. We already have known that India is a country known for its unity in diversity. India is made up of innumerable and varied cultures that inhabit various regions of the country. Though this country is made up of different states, each one having its own mother tongue, culture, traditions, and art forms. And these states have varied regional culture. Every region has its own unique art forms like poetry, prose, handicrafts, painting, etc. Likewise, there are varied number of the music in India like folk, classical, tribal, bhajan or devotional, ghazals and qawwalis, bhangra, indie pop, film songs, remix songs, and the fusion. While there are varied musical forms, Indian classical music has been broadly divided into the North Indian tradition, also known as Hindustani music, and the Carnatic music belonging to South India. What differentiates the two is their arrangement and performance. And I'm giving here only 4 different points. The first point is Hindustani music is mainly found in North India. Khayal and Dhrupad are its main forms, but there are several other classical and semi-classical forms, whereas the Carnatic music is from the South India, tends to be significantly more structured than the Hindustani music. Then second point is the Hindustani music developed chiefly in the courts of princes, most of who came from Persia and were Muslims, while the Carnatic music developed in the temples and they followed its own path. And the third point is the prime theme of Hindustani music are romantic, love, nature, and devotional, whereas the prime themes of Carnatic music includes the worship, description of the temples, philosophy, and the Nayaka-Nayiki themes. And the last point is Hindustani music use instruments like sitar, sarod, veena, tanpura, violin, bansuri, etc. Whereas the instruments used in Carnatic music include venu, gotuvadyam, harmonium, veena, mridangam, kajira, ghatam, and violin, etc. So these are some different points between the Hindustanic and the Carnatic music of India. Finally, we come to the last topic of today, musical instrument and its classification. A musical instrument is a device created or adapted to make the musical sound. In principle, any object that produces the sound can be considered a musical instrument. It is through purpose that the object becomes a musical instrument. A musical instrument is very often closely connected to mythology, totems, and the taboos of a person, and much therefore can be learned of their lives from their instrument. We can say that the human voice was the first medium of musical communication, the most natural and the most expressive instrument, though somewhat limited. Observing and initiating the nature in their daily struggle for survival, the first human began to be aware of the sounds around them. They could hear the wind sound hissing in the reeds, old trees groaning and the creaking tones clashing against each other, birds singing. They began to initiate these sounds, sometimes to protect themselves, sometimes to become one with nature and its divine harmony. This was how the first primitive musical instrument appeared. The study of musical instruments, their history, evolution, construction, and systematic is the subject of the science of organology. Its subject matter is innermost, covering practically the entire history of mankind and includes all cultural periods and the civilization. The science studies archaeological findings, the collection of ethnography museums, historical, religious and literary sources, painting, drawings, and sculpture. Organology is indispensable for the development of the specialized museum and amateur collection of musical instruments. It is also the science that analyzes the works of the greatest instrument makers and their schools in historical, technological, and aesthetic terms. So, the classification of the instruments used for the creation and performance of the music dates back to ancient times. Today, there are many systems of declassification for musical instruments based on their different characteristics. Each system has its own sphere of application, and the scientific classification of the musical instruments based on their principle of sound generation includes 5 groups. Number 1, aerophones. The sound which is generated by an air column, that is wind, for example, flute. Then number 2, idiophones. The materials itself generates the sound is called the idiophones. For example, xylophones. Then number 3, membranophone. The sound which is generated by a scratch membrane made up of the skin or other materials. Examples are like drum, dhol, etc. Then number 4 is the chordophones. The sound which is generated by a stretched string like violin. And the last one is the electrophone. The sound which is generated by electronic means. For example, electronic organ. So I think you might have got some information about music and musical instrument in India. So that's all for today. Thank you.